Hello, everyone. George is here, and welcome to today's episode where we're going to talk about how to like discuss things with your customer without losing the focus of helping them. And I call it like pampering your customer in a way that some people they say, should I spoil my customer? Should I tell them the truth if they are just facing a problem or they are not taking the right steps? So some people they go one side versus the other side, and they don't know how to stand in the middle to help the customer make the right decision and to help themselves at the end to make that sale or like to convince that customer about the offer they are having. So the whole idea you've heard about, you should agree with your customer. You should always agree with your customer, and that is super important point. And that doesn't also mean that you need to agree on whatever your client is saying. So what means like you should always agree, but in the back end you are not agreeing on the mistakes, you are not agreeing on the wrong things, you are not agreeing on those things that you think you should help your customer to overcome. So you agree with your customer when you open up a conversation with them. You agree with them on everything they are saying for one simple reason, is not to trigger all the false beliefs, not to trigger all the negative experience and negative thoughts about the conversation, about your brand, about your offer, even like about your conversation. So basically, you agree always. Whatever your client says, always agree. And then the next step is the most important. So you agree on whatever they are saying, it's just like to support them in their current situation, support them in the way they are thinking right now, but doesn't mean that you should support them if they are making like a big mistake and like that mistake will cause them so much down the road. So you agree just not to trigger all the negative thinking from their program, from their subconscious mind, so they at least open up to listen up to you. And the next step is the most important, is to start asking question, open-ended question, just to like make sure like they start to notice like there's something, the discussion is going somewhere, and I should think about those kind of steps. I should think about those steps. Maybe I didn't think about them before, or maybe nobody like mentioned or open up my eyes on those couple important steps. So always after you agree, after like with your customer, the next step is the most important, is to ask those kind of questions that open up at least a conversation for your customer in their head to understand that there is something like I'm doing something maybe not clear. So the conversation start to go back and forth. It's not only you are interrogating your customer, you are asking, they will ask you back, you ask also back. So all that question and answer between you and your customer, that is super important to help in the progress, to help in the process of your customer to pay attention that they are facing a problem, they are doing some mistakes along along the process or along the road. So the most important is, yes, sometimes you have to tell your customers what they are doing wrong, but you don't just like go and confront them and be like, if you watch the bar rescue, John Tafford, like he's so tough, he go and scream on people, and he has a reason. So there's no judgment on what he's doing. I like his show, even though he screams a lot. But the most important is you don't go and confront people because you are triggering all the negative thinking in their program. You need to agree with them, and this is the first rule in sales, that you should agree with your clients. You agree with them and you open up a conversation, you open up a question answer kind of things to understand, or they understand, or they start to pay attention, they start to open up their eyes. There's something I need to focus on, there's something I have to change. So this is what I wanted to share with you today, because some clients they ask, should I be very frank with my client to tell them exactly what they are doing, like kind of mistakes, what they should change today. That maybe comes later on when there is a trust, when there is a good connection, when there is a warm relationship between you and your customer. You can do that, but not at the beginning of the relationship, not at the beginning of the conversation. I see lots of people, they send me messages on Facebook, and they always ask, they always wants to know, like, what is my number one challenge. Like, they add me on Facebook, and after 15 minutes they want to understand my challenges. uh, and sometimes, like, they start like opposing what I'm saying. Sometimes, like, I answer just to get like the way they are selling, but they start to oppose what I'm saying. Like, even though I know the process, like, you don't feel comfortable when someone is telling you you are wrong, when someone's telling you like there's something you have to change. So that is very human, and we have to pay attention to it. Like, you have to remember that always you have to relax the program of your client. Opposing them doesn't help. This is why you should agree. This is why in sales, the number one rule is you should always agree with your customer, whatever the customer is saying. This is why we say, like, your customer is always right. But in a sense that even if they are doing mistake, you are agreeing with them to relax that program, to relax all those opposing and objections they have in their program, in their subconscious mind. And once it is relaxed, you open up the conversation so they can pay attention to what they are facing and pay attention how you can help them. This is why, like, in sales, you have to have a process. You cannot just like go and start talking like randomly and asking like random questions. And like most of the time, like, this is how people sell. In sales, you have to have a process. How you're going to take your customer from point A to point Z. Like, what is the first question? What is the first step in your process? What is the first of everything that you want to walk your customer through so they can understand in first place they have a problem, and then they can understand that you can help them, and then they can understand that you are the only solution for that specific problem. They can trust you on that specific problem versus they go on Google or they go on any other platform to find a solution or find someone to help them. So keep that in mind. Yes, you have to agree with your customer. You should not confront them, and especially at the beginning, if they are like in the cold relationship between you and them. Once that relationship warm up between you and them, now maybe the conversation would take like more like clear and like sometimes like very clear and very honest feedback. But at the beginning, you should trigger, like, you should allow your client to trigger to to start like even like thinking about like the smallest details in whatever they are facing in the specific problem that you want to help them to overcome. So with that being said, keep that in mind. You should spoil your client at the beginning. You should spoil your client at some point for them to relax, for them to open up with you. And then with the process, they trust you, they understand that how you can help them. And then it becomes an honest conversation, an honest and warm relationship. So now they are more open to get your like clear and direct feedback. So with that being said, keep those rules in your mind, create your process in sales and follow that. The process in sales is not complicated. It's just like, what is the logic that you take your client from point A to point Z? Like, create that. Don't follow like all those gurus, because at the end, like, everybody, what works for me, it may not work for you. It just like put a conversation, how we're going to convince someone about your idea. Remember, your offer is just an idea, your product is just an idea. It's like talking to a friend. How are you going to convince a friend to go with you to like to do a hobby or to watch movie or whatever it is? How it's more, also, if you look at it, it's more like how you're going to date someone from the first minute you meet that someone, and until like you can secure a date with them. So what is the logic? How what are the steps that you should follow? What you should say in every single step. With that being said, keep those in mind. Share with me your experience and let me know if you have any question. And I wish you a happy holidays and happy Easter for everybody and a great, beautiful weekend. And I will see you on Monday with a new question and a new episode. And you take care.